She had been gone for 3 years before anyone in her family used her new state's name correctly, not out of hostility. That would have been easier to name. It was something quieter, the particular indifference that families extend to the member who leaves and doesn't struggle visibly enough to warrant attention. She had moved for a job offer that felt like a door opening after years of pushing against walls. She had packed her apartment in 11 boxes, driven 14 hours, and started over in a city where no one knew her maiden name or her mother's expectations. She told them. She posted once, called twice, sent a photo of her new apartment's windows, because the light was extraordinary and she wanted to share something true about her life. Her mother said, "That's nice, be safe." Her brother asked if she could Venmo him $40 for a parking ticket. She sent the $40. She stopped posting. The promotion came 18 months in. Regional Accounts Manager, a title that meant early mornings, difficult clients, and a kind of competence she had quietly been building since her mid-20s without anyone present to observe it. Her company sent a small bouquet to her desk. Her colleague across the hall brought coffee. She sat in her car at lunch and thought about calling home, then didn't, because she had done the math on those conversations before and understood the return. She bought the Porsche 14 months after that. Used, carefully researched. 3 years old, one previous owner, a color she had wanted since she was 22, and had filed away as impractical. It was the first large thing she had ever purchased that was purely, specifically, unapologetically for herself. She drove it off the lot on a Tuesday afternoon and felt something settle in her chest that she didn't have an exact word for. She didn't post about it. Her cousin visited in October. He was easy company, the kind of family member who existed outside the family's emotional architecture, curious about her life without agenda. He took photos during the visit the way people do, casually, because the light was good and the house looked like something. Her driveway, the car. A caption that said, "Visited my cousin, she's doing things," he tagged her city. He did not tag her. He didn't think anything of it. There was nothing to think. The text from her mother came on a Wednesday. Not, "I saw the photo and thought of you." Not, "I didn't realize things were going so well." Not any version of the conversation that might have acknowledged the gap between what her family had assumed about her life and what her life had actually become. The text said, "Your cousin posted that car. You know your brother is still dealing with everything." Something like that could really help him get stable. She read it twice. Not because she hadn't understood it the first time, but because she wanted to be certain she was reading what was actually there and not what she was afraid of finding. She set her phone face down on the counter and made coffee. She thought about the $40. She thought about the announcement she'd made about her move that had generated 4 responses, 2 of which were logistical questions. She thought about her brother's situation, which was real and ongoing, and not his fault entirely, but which had been a community event for years. Fundraisers, collections, her aunt's coordinating, her mother's energy organized entirely around his instability. She thought about how none of that infrastructure had ever once oriented itself in her direction. Not when she was struggling at 24 and eating rice 4 nights a week. Not when she got the promotion. Not when she drove 14 hours alone and started over. She thought about what it meant to be invisible until you had something someone recognized as useful. She did not reply. 2 weeks later, her director called. He was methodical and warm, in the way of people who respect their own time and therefore yours. He told her the company was formalizing a cross-state leadership role and that her name had been the first one discussed. He said her name in the sentence the way people say names when they mean them. Not as placeholder, but as the specific person they have been watching and deciding about. The announcement went company-wide the following Monday. Her name, her region, her new title. An internal newsletter that several hundred people received. Her aunt was a vendor coordinator for a firm that contracted with companies in her industry. She saw a cross-reference. She recognized the name. She called her mother the same afternoon. Her phone changed register that week. Not dramatically. Families don't often offer dramatic acknowledgement, because that would require naming what preceded it. Instead, there were softer things. Her mother asking about her work for the first time, in a way that expected a real answer. An invitation to her aunt's Thanksgiving gathering, which she had not received in 4 years, and which had not been explained as an oversight or addressed as an absence. Her cousin, separately, sent a voice message saying he was proud of her and that the photo had gotten more attention than he expected, and was she okay? She told him she was fine. She meant it in the way that fine can mean something complicated and stable at once. She returned one of her mother's calls. She kept it to 20 minutes. She answered the questions about her title honestly and without performance. When her mother circled back toward her brother, toward resources, toward the particular logic that had produced that first text. She said, "I'm not in a position to take that on right now." And then she moved the conversation somewhere neutral until it ended naturally. She did not explain herself further. She did not apologize for the boundary, or decorate it with softness she didn't have available. She said it the way you say a true thing, plainly, without theater. The car is still in the driveway. She drives it on Sunday mornings when the roads near her neighborhood are quiet, and the light comes in flat and clean through the windshield. She is not happy in any resolved or complete sense. There are things about her family she has stopped expecting to change, and that decision sits in her chest like a stone she has learned to carry without announcing. She doesn't post about her life. Not because she is hiding, but because she has stopped needing to be witnessed by people who only look when they want something. The city she lives in has started to feel like hers. That is not nothing. That is, in fact, most of it.